Congressman Adam Schiff will be among those raising questions at today's hearings and has stopped off to talk to us on his way in. Congressman, thank you very much. What is the most important thing that you want to hear from the head of the NSA and the head of National Intelligence?
Well, there are a couple things. The hearing is originally supposed to be focused on domestic calling information, on the FISA Court and potential reforms. I'm going to want to know what efforts are being made to restructure the metadata program so that the telecommunications companies retain their own data, so that the government doesn't have to acquire these massive amounts of U.S. calling data. But on the most recent allegations, Andrea, I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to talk about in open session. But The one question I want to know is, was this, if this is going on, reported to the intelligence committees? And if it wasn't, how can they justify something that have this broad a policy impact if disclosed, as indeed has been reported? How could that not be disclosed to the intelligence committee? So I do have a lot of questions, some of which may have to wait for closed session.
Well, Senator Feinstein, the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, the counterpart in the Senate, said very declaratively last night that she and her committee was not briefed on it. And she said she is unalterably opposed to this kind of eavesdropping, which has not been denied, by the way, and in fact is, for all intents and purposes, confirmed by U.S. officials. They just say that it happened in the past, the recent past, and not currently ongoing on Merkel. So, in fact, the intelligence committees were not informed. Now, is it credible that this would have happened without the president knowing?
Well, you know, I find it hard to believe that these programs were not briefed to Congress in some form. So I'm going to want to look into this question very carefully. The intelligence agencies have a responsibility to inform us of significant activities that could have a significant blowback, as indeed this has. In terms of the president, if the president represents he didn't know about it, I believe the president. But why are we gathering information on foreign leaders if it's not to be utilized? Clearly, someone in the administration at a very high level had to know about this. Otherwise, what is the point if it can't shape decision-making? But the president is right. The bottom line here is any effort at home or abroad must be consistent with our values. And I think spying on the allied leaders, except for potentially in the most extraordinary of situations, is not consistent with our values and also jeopardizes those important relationships.
Well, you said if the committees were not informed. You're a member of the committee. Had you been informed?
I had not been informed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the committee was not informed. And that's one of the issues I'd like to get to the bottom of. Some issues are only briefed to the leadership. Sometimes issues are briefed to the committee or reported to the committee, but may not call attention to themselves. Is this something that fell through the cracks in terms of the committee oversight? Before I'm ready to lay all the responsibility at the feet of the NSA, I want to make sure what responsibility we have here in Congress, because indeed we have ultimate responsibility to oversee these agencies.
Now, the president has ordered a review, and Feinstein has ordered a major review, and is suggesting that the mass collection, which she had previously supported, now has to be reexamined, and basically that the NSA has to be reined in. Do you agree with that?
Well, I do think that the metadata program has to be re-examined, and this is something that I raised years before this became public. I don't see why the government has to acquire this data. I don't know why we can't simply go to the telecommunications providers when we have reason to believe that a number is connected with a terrorist plot. There's been a lot of talk about, well, we need the haystack to be able to look for the needle. We don't need the haystack. The telephone companies can hang on to their own haystack. We should go to them when we have a reason to believe that a number is connected with a plot. So I absolutely believe that the program in its current form should end and should be restructured, because we can get all the same information to protect the country that we need to without getting this wealth of data. And I think all programs ought to meet three tests. They should be constitutional, they should be effective, and they should be structured in a way to minimize any unnecessary intrusion on our privacy.
Thank you so much, Congressman Schiff. Look forward to watching